Years ago, I said, Stan, you know, in 2015 is going to be our 50th reunion. We should get together and find people. So we didn't. And it's been tough. Where's Bruce? Bruce and Gary probably did more or as much as anyone to find the names that we have. I think we had about 25 people, and 5 sadly have passed away, and 5 are here. And the other people, we kind of knew where they were. And one of the greatest ones was Jim Mosley, who was here a couple weeks ago. Anybody that saw him, Jim's 73, he pitched the last inning, and he just said when he went out there, I'm not coming out. I don't care what happens. Don't come and get me. And he was throwing strikes the whole time, and he was getting lit up. And he also could have gotten out of the inning a couple of times, and guys missed a ground ball, and there's 2 outs, the catcher goes out. I mean, remember, these are alumni catchers. The catcher didn't turn around. He's just like, he's chasing, falls down. And Mosley's like heading for the, goes back out on the mound. But he still did it. He still did it. Remember what we called him? Jim Mosley?
Gomer.
Gomer. Man, he was Gomer. He was talking in the day. People loved him. And he sent me an email that had some of his songs that he's actually recorded singing. And he's pretty good. And that's his passion. And he drove from Texas out here. And he actually stayed in Palmdale with his uncle. And what a guy. And he's I'm coming back. But he called me. He said, I can't come back. So that's 2 trips. But tell everybody hello. Send them that email, what it might be. Just a couple stories that I wanted to tell about that 65 team. I was lost. I actually went to UC Davis out of junior college, and my buddies that were coming didn't come, so I went back to Bakersfield, and my junior college football and baseball coach happened to have played in the Yankee organization with a guy named Stan Charnofsky. He said, you should contact him. I said, where is that school? Well, it's called Valley State. And I said, well, where is it? He said, well, somewhere in the valley, wherever that is. I had no clue. So my buddy, Mike Kelly, and we came down, and on our recruiting trip, we were met by a limo. Oh no, that was your little gray boat. And we drove around the cornfields and made it out to the baseball field. And then we went to IHOP, which is a story for me.
Gourmet
recruiting. And I don't remember what the job we were supposed to have a job with this company or some kind of deal, but they went on strike, and Mike and I never got the job. But tuition was something like $45 a semester, so we could afford that. And Mike left at the halfway point, and I moved in with some lady's house bedroom, so it was fine. But I remember the season started, and one of the things we had to do was give our coach what kind of bat. We had wooden bats, and they had numbers on the handle. And I said, what do you want? I said, I don't know. I always bought mine at the drugstore. I don't know what it said, 34 inch or whatever. So anyway, 016, R43, D2, K55. I'm sure you guys all know those numbers. Anyway, we got them, and I remember our bats came, and then we got a bat order, I think, for the Dodgers. If they made the World Series, they were going to get those bats. And these bats are like amazing. I mean, these were bats. And 34, whatever, was a real 34. And from that point on, we hit and we hit and we hit and we pitched and we pitched, and whatever happened, we ended up winning. But our first series lead was supposed to be at Cal Poly San Luis. And it was raining, and I remember we had a meeting in the room, and I'll never forget this, and we asked Coach Charnofsky, what do you think? And he says, well, I rarely put any credence in long-distance prognostications. We're all looking. What did he say? What did he say? Oh, I don't trust those early weather reports. I said, okay. And the next time I heard him talk like that, we were playing at Arizona State, and Bobby Winkles was their manager, and Rick Money was their center fielder, and the umpire was Stan Landis. Yeah. And you remember Stan Landis was a very large person, and there was some kind of dispute. And Stan goes out there, and he's not a very large person. But Stan was talking to Stan Landis, and Stan Landis was getting redder and redder, because he was using that same language about long-distance prognostications. And he just goes, "Get out of here!" He says, "Am I kicked out?" I said, "No, but go in the dugout and don't talk to me anymore." Then we had a great season. We're playing Stanford. We win the first game, and I'll never forget Steve Arriga and Tom Cottrell. And that night, we were just like, "Oh, all we have to do is win one game tomorrow. We're in there. We're going to Omaha. We're going to Omaha." We get the first out. I think I was playing center field in the Sunken Diamond. We get the first out of the second game on the first game Saturday, but our second game because we won on Friday. And I'm shaking my head. I said, we're going to Omaha. And the next ball was hit over my head so far. I was running back, and I hit that embankment and I just fell and turned, and I turned back around. Everybody's head was there, and they just kicked our butts for the whole time. So, and then we had a close game, and we didn't go, but it was tough. But I remember at our field, which is basically in the same location, and behind us was cornfields. And Hannes Wagner, Bill Hannes Wagner, he was gone. He could find any foul ball in the cornfield and bring it back. And we had that little chain link fence. And,
Well, you mentioned Rick Monday in
Yes.
Arizona. I tried to recruit him, and I brought his mother and him over and offered him a chance to rake leaves. That's all we had to offer him.
maybe that was the job I was doing.
But 2 years ago, Dick invited me to the Padres game with my daughter. We went down to San Diego, and after the game was over, Monday walked out of his announcing booth, and Dick said he wanted to talk to you, so he said hello to me, and I said hello to him. He remembered coming to our campus because his mother said how nice we treated her. How nice we treated her. Of course, we couldn't compete with Arizona for recruiting him. Let me just, I don't want to talk for very long, but let me just tell you some anecdotes. You know, Bob just showed me this beautiful cap, the NC2A champions, when his team won the title. Well, it was Division II then, wasn't it? Yeah. But I had this hat, which says, "I played for Rod at USC. Now, that's the man who was the greatest coach I've ever seen. Do you know that he won for USC 11 national championships? Wow. No other coach has ever won more than 3. And, whatever, and he learned from Casey Stengel, he told me. So Casey would come to the football games. Rod would bring him to the football games, and I'd get to see him there. And then later, when I was almost with the Yankees, I met him. And then later, he was a scout for the Mets, and so was I. So we got to meet a few times.
He came to some of our games.
Yeah,
also.
yeah, he did.
He might have come to a couple of the games, yeah.
Because somebody said, "Here's a card," and I said, "From what?" That guy over there, that old guy. That's Casey Stengel. Let me fill that out.
Great,
My year, '65, was the first time there was a draft.
Yeah. Anyway, he told me a few stories. I want to pass one on to you. He said to me once, "It's very hard to be a manager or a coach, especially when you have to tell someone that you got to let them go, that they're not going to make it, they're not good enough or whatever." And he said, he had this gruff voice. Said, "Well, I was managing in the minor leagues, and this boy, I had to let him go, and I called him in and I said, 'Son,' he says, 'Yes, sir.' I said, 'Son, do you have a profession?' And he said to me, 'Yes, sir, I'm a Presbyterian.' I said to him, 'No, Presbyterian, that's your belief. I mean, a vocation, like I'm the manager.' And he looked at me and he said, That's your belief. He said it crushed me. It crushed me as the coach. And one other thing, one time I was managing St. Petersburg in the Florida State League, and the Yankees trained right next to us, at Miller-Huggins Field, they called it. And one day they were moving to play an exhibition game, and they let us use their field for our minor league team. But they left Yogi Berra behind, the great catcher. And Yogi was sitting there by the batting cage watching my team take batting practice. And he started telling me this story. He said, well, you know, Yogi Berra, everyone jokes about the way he messes words up, but he, pretty smart guy, you know, because he could talk about high and outside, he could hit those pitches. He would jump up and hit him off the ground sometimes. Anyway, he said, here's what happened. He said, we were in the World Series with Hank Aaron, the Braves, and he said, when Hank Aaron got into the box, he said, you could not get his attention. He was so focused. But he said in those days, you know, they probably still do, he said they had Hillerick and Bradsby, Louisville Slugger, you know, wrote names on the knotted part of the bat, and then the grain part were on the sides. And you always had to hit the ball with the grain, or else the bat would crack. So we would always say, keep your label up. Always hold the label up. So Yogi says, I'm looking at Hank, and he's standing up there, and he's got the label turned the wrong way. And I thought I'd be nice, so I said to him, hey, Hank! And he wouldn't budge. First pitch came in, I throw the ball back, he says, and Hank! Nothing. Next one was a little closer, and he had to break his concentration. When I said, Hank, he said, what do you want, Yogi? He said, the label that says Louisville Slugger on the bat. You got to turn the wrong way. He said, Aaron looked at me and said, that's okay, Yogi, I ain't up here to read. Anyway, my point is, it's fun to be around all these ancient stories and ancient people that we knew years ago. But I'm delighted to be able to be here with all of you. I mean, I wish we had more folks here. Bruce I see regularly because he comes to my class as a guest speaker. Joe I've seen a few times. His daughter has the same job I do. She's at a place called Phillips Graduate Institute down the road, and she runs their program to train therapists. And I do the program here. Anyway, thank you all for coming. And Bob, thank you for the cap.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Provost. Thank you, Dean.